It's been a while since I've watched anime, and because of that, I had the dumb idea to start watching it in alphabetical order, using the My Anime List database, and record my journey. Ling Hao Sushe, or Dorm Zero, is a 14-episode Chinese anime released in 2018. We follow Chang Sheng, an anthropomorphic giraffe, who just moved into a new college dorm. Unfortunately, he got assigned to the shady part of town, and here he meets his new roommates, Edison, a greedy black cat, Jia Yingshang, who seems to be part of a gang, and worst of all, Ruan Shang, a nerd. Dorm Zero is episodic, so there isn't an overarching story, one of which I wouldn't even be able to tell you since it has never been translated to English. Though I can tell you about other aspects of this anime. It's a comedy and it's made like a sitcom, so there's a laugh track. It's luckily not that overwhelming for me, but it can still be quite annoying to some. My Anime List labels this anime for all ages, but I've found it to be more towards shonen age, since there is quite a bit of censored nudity and adult jokes. Speaking of My Anime List, while I was watching it, I didn't seem to find the character Jane Doe from Zenless Zone Zero, whose picture is not Jane Doe, but Nagare Amano from an anime called Hero Bank. There are some parts that I did understand, so the visual storytelling is pretty decent, and some of the visual gags were quite funny. It can be loud at times since there's quite a bit of screaming, and a lot of bleeps since they do curse a lot. Which I don't mind, but it's quite worrying when the official YouTube upload of this has nursery rhymes in the title. And yeah, it can easily be found on YouTube, though on the English side it's not that popular. Though on Bilibili, the Chinese video platform, it is very popular, sitting at a total view count of 99 million. Overall, it was pretty decent, though my rating should be taken with a grain of salt, since I don't know what the story is about, but all the other aspects of the anime were pretty decent. I'll end this segment with one of my favorite English sentences in the anime.
Sorry, the subscribe you dialed is power off.
This anime was made in 1968 and was adapted from the manga by legendary author Osamu Tezuka in the late 50s, early 60s. The anime is only a 4-minute pilot made by Mushi Production, the same studio that worked on titles like Astro Boy and Asta no Jo. Unfortunately, the anime was never realized and the pilot remains unseen. This was because Mushi Productions got into financial difficulties in the late 60s, eventually declaring bankruptcy in 1973. The only things that were found was concept art of the main character and some of the storyboards in the book Osamu Tezuka Storyboard Collection number 2, though pictures of these have never been put online. So I went ahead and bought it myself so I could showcase it. And I can confirm that it does indeed have those storyboards. There's one small color frame of the pilot at the start of the book, and starting at page 517 is the pilot. It is 60 pages of storyboards, so I'll only showcase some of my favorite panels here, but I'll put the whole thing in a separate video that will be linked in the description. So check that out if you want to see everything.
その根拠は？
昔の開拓にかかった費用と、ここ数年の税の軽減から考えました。
Zero Saiji Stardust Monogatari is a short anime made by Hao Sushe. Both seasons consisting of 12 episodes, where in season 1 each episode is 3 minutes and in season 2 each one is 4 minutes. Though they both have a 30-minute recap at the start and a 1-minute ending, so it's more like 1.5 and 2.5 respectively. In the anime we follow Lilia, who was a 30-something-year-old office lady who under unknown circumstances passed away and is reincarnated into a new, European-inspired medieval world, where she is reborn into a royal family. In the anime you will see her age from 0 to 5, where she discovers she can use magic, to which she becomes very good at, probably. The whole magic training arc is skipped over in the anime, and instead we get shown that she is a super genius because she talks about taxes at 5 years old instead. In season 1, the first 10 episodes, nothing really happens, and we're finally introduced to the other main character in episode 11, which, even if this is short anime, that still felt very late. But we're introduced to Elk von Luxel, a very pretty boy, to which on first meeting Lilia falls head over heels for, and that's where season 1 ends. Season 2 starts out where season 1 ended. Lilia's mother and father easily notice, of course, that Lilia really likes Elk, and the mother has the great idea to force marry her to Elk. They don't mention she's 5 years old, after which nothing else really happens. You'll finish both seasons in a little longer than an hour, and even then it's not worth watching. Interesting parts of an isekai are skipped over, and instead we get to hear about taxes. The animation is non-existent, and the only redeeming quality is that some of the character art is drawn very nicely. It's more exciting to read the synopsis than to watch the anime. We got a 2-in-1 special. Zero Sen Hayato is an anime made in 1964, adapted from the manga with the same name. Unfortunately, with a lot of anime from the 60s, only one episode out of the 38 is available, with the rest being nowhere to be found. This part of the video also includes a pilot entry on Mal, since episode 1 is also confirmed to be the pilot of the anime. Zero Sen Hayato is about Asuma Hayato, a World War II pilot of the Japanese Navy. This is a story of Hayato seeking revenge on an enemy pilot who shot down the plane of his father. The anime adaptation was broadcast on Fuji TV, but it never got a release outside of it. Only the first 2 episodes have been confirmed to have VHS tapes. Though upon searching them, episode 2 has only had 2 listings ever, so it's extremely rare. In 2022 it was discovered that the anime has a 39th episode, and if it followed the weekly schedule and didn't miss any, a 40th would also exist, but as of writing of this script it has not been confirmed. This is a 36-second animation made by Masaki Okuda. He has won some awards for other art pieces he has done, with 001 being one of his first creations made during his time at university. It consists of a person face planting into a window with a windshield wiper, and with each wipe gets older until they are skeleton. With each wipe you also hear a random sound effect. It's supposed to be about that, but it doesn't have much substance. Other than the animation being kinda neat, there isn't much to talk about honestly, which makes this art piece just okay.
いつもわざと目立たないようにしてるし、どうして？
え、なぜそう思うの？
見てればわかるよ。
This is a 1 hour and 40-minute movie adapted from the manga Cyborg 009, made by Shotaro Ishinomori in the mid-60s to late 70s. In the movie there have been attacks going on in several countries, and starts out with our main character Joe wanting to do the same, because of a mysterious voice telling him to do it. He gets stopped and beat up by another one of the main cast with the plan of trying to regain his memories, which happens, and he remembers that he's actually a cyborg, the 9th one, and he's been living in 3-year intervals, where at the end of the 3rd year his memories get wiped and he starts over. Eventually they figure out that the people that did those attacks heard the same voice as Joe did. As that happens they also find these angel skeletons in various regions, which are also connected to the voice. And from here it takes a weird turn, since at the start when those attacks happen, you would assume that the movie will be about trying to stop a secret organization or something. But it weirdly turns into some kind of religious what is justice-esque story, where the voice that people hear, which they refer to as him, is the voice of God. They never put a name on which God it would be, but the people that hear these voices do these attacks because of some aligned morals they have. Like, the concept of who are actually the good and bad guys is interesting, but this movie turned into such a weird way that it just felt like I was watching some kind of religious propaganda movie. To which I will say, as a disclaimer, I'm atheist myself and I don't really believe in such things, but if you do, I don't really care. You do you. Only thing I would have a problem with is if it gets pushed onto others to believe in it. And in this movie it kind of felt like that. It also seemed super out of place since it starts out with all those terrible attacks to where skyscrapers and whatnot collapse, killing thousands of people, and then it turns into a what is good and bad moral story. Alongside this movie there are also several TV adaptations about the different backstories and whatnot of the characters, so the movie assumes you know who they are and doesn't really introduce them. The only one that really gets in the spotlight is Joe, the rest of them just being there. Though the movie does do a good job of showcasing almost all of the characters' powers. I say almost, because one of them, Pyunma, doesn't get that luxury for whatever reason. The CGI of the movie is also super hit or miss. It's really good in certain scenes and just terrible in others. The time period the movie takes place is also quite unclear, since the characters are cyborgs with superpowers and use powers like teleportation, but the tech development isn't upheld in everyday lives of people around them. This creates quite an unnatural contrast between the main characters having super advanced tech and then looking around the scene and seeing the cities and technology of what we have now. Overall, I didn't really think the movie was that good. The story turned off-putting, the characters are forgettable and the setting feels unnatural. There's probably a niche of people that will enjoy it, but I wasn't one of them.
大きな元気見つけてきたぜ。ジップ。
These are a series of 10 commercials from the Japanese morning show Zip, which is a show that consists of things like news, weather and sports. They're 10 seconds long and showcase each character, plus one with all of them. And that's really the only clever thing. It's just commercials, don't waste your time on it. (009-1) is an episodic anime from 2006, adapted from the manga, made between 1967 and 1974 by the same author as Cyborg 009 from the previous entry. These two manga aren't related, they just have similar names. We follow Malene Hoffman, a cyborg spy from the Western Bloc. She's an agent from 00 organization, where her codename is 9-1, and lives in an alternate world where the Cold War has never ended, between two nations, called the Western and Eastern Bloc. The episodes are divided into missions. These missions can consist of killing double agents or retrieving secret military technology. She's the only prominent character because of the episodic nature of the anime, and during these episodes you get bits and pieces of what's going on in this Cold War and about Malene herself. The anime isn't anything flashy, but it does what it tries to do pretty decently, and if you like spy-oriented stories, I think you will enjoy this one. Not all of the missions are as interesting, but some of the stories in them can be pretty good. The only thing that can put people off is the art style, since it's a mix of the style from the 60s with the quality of 2006. R&B is the special, and I've put them together since it's basically another episode. This is also labeled as episode 9.5. I thought it was okay. I liked some of the other episodes of the anime more than this one. This is an Avant Garde art piece made by Yutaro Kubo. It's a 5-minute and 20-second video loop of someone taking a drink, but with each sip they take the loop changes, eventually coming to a colorful ending. Each of these changes in the art piece is made to the beat of the music in the background. I honestly don't know what the art piece is supposed to mean, but I thought the colorful ending was pretty cool and the music in the background quite intriguing.
お前が悪いんじゃねえよ。いいか、よく聞け。人は生まれてくるとき、展開の多さと約束するんだ。3つの夢を。
This is a 25-episode anime from 2009, adapted from the manga written by Amamiya Yuki and drawn by Ichihara Yukino. This anime is a josei, so expect some very pretty boys. Our main character, Tato Klein, is a prominent soldier in training in the Barsburg Empire's military academy. They can use a magic-esque ability called Siphon, which is a power that is used in the form of words. Together with his friend Mikage, they are at the end of their training, only having the graduation exam left to do, during which a very high-ranking member of the military comes to visit, Ayanami. We find out during the exam that the memories of Tato have been locked away, but after the first part of the exam is finished, one of them unlocks. Here we come to know that the acting father of Tato got killed by Ayanami. In a fury of rage, Tato storms toward Ayanami to assassinate him, though Tato is leagues below him and gets immediately stopped and is captured. Upon hearing that Tato got captured, Mikage goes to help him escape, and while doing so gets captured himself, though successfully letting Tato escape. He seeks refuge in a protected neutral zone called the 7th District Church and is taken in by the bishops. Here he starts his journey to uncover the mystery surrounding his locked away memories and tries to get stronger to help Mikage escape and to get his revenge on Ayanami. Quite a lot of the characters are pretty decent. Most of the side characters do lack in depth, and while the main character Tato is the one that's most explored, I still found him to be the least interesting out of the bunch. So it's a little unfortunate that he's the only one that got that kind of depth to him. The world building in this anime is one of its strongest points, where we learn about the god of death called Verloren, and the disciples of heaven, the 7 ghosts, that sealed the god of death away. I find this to be a very nice comparison to one of the points I've made earlier with 009 Cyborg, where the whole theme of religion, which in this anime is even more prominent, is a lot more tastefully done. In 07 Ghosts it's everywhere, but it's used as a guiding line for a story and for how the world works, instead of how in 009 Cyborg it felt like it was tucked in by the author themselves. This anime was a good watch for me. It explores concepts like responsibility, loss and overcoming grief, and there's a good mix of light-hearted moments as well. It's unfortunately not for everyone. The story is slow and the main character can get a bit annoying with the amount of gloominess he shows, but for me that didn't stop me from enjoying it. The boys were also pretty. Do be warned though, unfortunately the anime only has one season, and the story of it is not even close to done. So maybe instead, if you're interested, check out the manga.
No, you're the one for me, I never lose
This is a lyrics video made by a K-pop group called Tomorrow Together. It's a basic music video, the lyrics are clear and on time, which should be an easy thing to get right, but I've seen some lyric videos that didn't even get that. The animation is fine, some of it is to the lyrics but not everything. I'm not the biggest fan of the song though, the chorus is good but the verses aren't, with basic rhymes and metaphors, and little instrumentals, which works as a good contrast with the explosion that is the chorus. I just think the vocals during the verses can be done better.
작도 소방서 비동 불씨 잡는다. 구조 대상자 발견했습니다. 보수, 네가 데리고 나가라.
Yi Jo is an anime based off a Korean manhwa. There are 13 episodes which are each 11 minutes long. It follows a first responder firefighter who's able to see a few seconds into the future. I can't really tell much else, unfortunately, since I have not been able to find a place to watch it, other than 2 Korean streaming sites, which both need a subscription to be able to watch this anime. I tried to pay for one, but both require a credit card, which I don't have, or a Korean-based payment option. So unfortunately, I'll have to skip this one.
你也让他们都烧起来了吗，妈妈？我明明什么都没做，他们却都自顾自的燃烧。
Yi Fenzhong Donghua Juchang translates to 1 minute animation theater, which was a contest held from May 15 to June 6 on Bilibili, where you had to make a 1 minute animation about pretty much any topic. There was also a more minor contest where you could submit an edit of the logo. You could choose between 10 videos, and the winner would get put on the big screen, which I'm unsure of what that means since I'm relying on translations. The winner of this competition was someone by the name of Tachibana Genya. I think that's how you pronounce it, with an amazing but somewhat graphic animation of what looks to be a fake movie trailer. Some of the other animations were also pretty good, though they're all in Chinese. If you just want to see some cool animations, I suggest you check them out.
ご安心ください。畑中さんはお勝ちになります。おそらく今も。
This is a 1 episode 50-minute OVA from 1988, adapted from manga written by Takahashi Rumiko. In this OVA we follow Kosuke, an amateur boxer who can control his impulse to consume large amounts of food, which causes him to fall out of his boxer weight class and almost ruin his career. At some point he collapses from hunger in front of a church, and here he meets Angela, a Catholic sister. There are weirdly a lot of religious themes in this episode. She tries to help him overcome his impulses, and eventually they get feelings for each other. There's some weird moments in this OVA, like Kosuke randomly kisses Angela when they barely have met, which I hope I don't need to tell you that that's not how you pick up girls, and I found the ending to be a bit unrealistic. I also thought it was funny to see Angela suddenly super drunk, since you associate nuns like Angela to be quite pure, so it was a bit unexpected. The rest of the story was okay. The main character was a bit insufferable with how little impulse control he has, but the boxing scenes were really good, so that kinda makes up for it. I will say outright, this song to me is just okay. It's not the best thing I've heard, but also not the worst thing. But with a lot of songs there's always a meaning and a story to what it tries to tell you. And this one is tough. There isn't a one true answer to this, but I've seen some comments which align with what I interpret this song to be about. This is about someone who is in the hospital, being on the brink of death, waiting for it to take over and let them drift away and rest, escaping from life and the past. But they suddenly realize that in life, not everything was bad. There were also good memories. Good memories with people they care about. And with this realization they decide that they want to wake up and don't want to die after all. Wake up for the people waiting for them and be with them, even if it's just for a single moment. It's a short message, but a powerful one that I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, can relate to. You can't appreciate the beautiful days without rainy ones. One plus 2 equals paradise is definitely not a paradise, but an awful 28-minute 2-episode OVA from 1990. We follow Yusuke, an average guy who has a phobia for women, because when he was young he played pretend as patients and nurses together with the twin girls that were living next door, Yuka and Rika, during which they tried to cut off his penis. And now Yusuke's father wants him to be a gynecologist like him, so to overcome his phobia he lets the twins live at their house. Or well, he needs to choose one of them, since they don't have enough living space. First episode is basically just Yuka and Rika being very provocative to Yusuke, getting into ridiculous situations. Like in one scene they're cleaning a bathroom. While Rika goes to another room, Yuka tries to grab a hose from the wall but slips and falls into the bath which Yusuke is cleaning, to which they end up being tied together and accidentally hitting the faucet, turning on the water and almost drowning themselves. It's so stupid. Episode 2 is different, with different art style as well for whatever reason, where a new character called Barako just transferred to the school and falls for Yusuke. To which Barako just kidnaps him to a circus that just pops up and the twins try to take him back. In this OVA just so many stupid scenarios that happen, and in almost all scenes you see at least one set of tits. But it's just so stupid that it turns around to be enjoyable, and it's definitely the type of OVA that is my guilty pleasure. This OVA is still awful with absolute dumb characters, impossible scenarios and a stupid premise, but I still recommend it if you enjoy that kind of thing.
沈んだ君なんか見たくないよ。いつもなら雪が降るとわーいスキーができるってスキップして喜ぶじゃないか。いやダメだ。今日はとてもスキップなんか。
It's September, so it's a perfect time for a Christmas OVA. Made in 1991 and adapted from a short story by Awadate Mariko. The OVA starts out with our main character Fujioka Junsho, who works in a shoe store, consoling a co-worker because he likes women a lot. While another character, Tateno Mizuki, is just staring at them through the store window for like a super awkwardly long time. Eventually things settle down and Mizuki comes into the store to buy some shoes, but first she tries on a dozen different shoes on first, as a prank, to which she tries to buy the first one she had put on. But Junsho gets back at her and tells her they don't have any in her size, even though they do. I know that's some super evil stuff. After this we see Junsho at his house, talking to his dad about a vacant neighboring house. His dad telling him he saw some lights on a couple days ago and he questions if some new neighbors moved in. So Junsho goes to check it out, and he just walks into the house. Here he meets Mizuki again because her and her dad recently moved in, though her dad is in the hospital at the moment. In the next scene we meet a new character, Seiko, who's a childhood friend of Junsho, but in this scene they confess to each other, I think. I got quite confused with this since in the next scene they celebrate that they got engaged, so maybe they had something already, but it seems like they weren't a thing yet, so did they just decide to skip the whole dating thing and immediately get married? I've no idea. At this point I'm also getting quite annoyed at the fact that they talk about Mizuki in almost every conversation, because she's alone and they are worried about her, but I just don't care because she's such an unlikable character. She's super pessimistic and hates everything. Eventually they go to check up on her and again just walk into her house to find her really ill. They take her to Junsho's house to take care of her, and the hospital calls them for whatever reason to let them know that Mizuki's dad had passed away. After Christmas passed we get to the funeral, which Mizuki doesn't attend to. Worried, of course, Seiko goes to check on her. Here they find Mizuki's house on fire. Seiko makes it out unscathed, but Mizuki is still inside, and Junsho goes in to rescue her. He finds her in the kitchen, which by the way is bursting with flames. Scared, and Junsho has to convince her to come with him. They are literally having a conversation inside a kitchen where everything is on fire. They should have been dead in seconds, and not even from the fire itself, which with that amount you wouldn't even be able to stand there because of the high temperatures, but the amount of smoke that comes off it. This scene is awful. After this, Junsho visits her in the hospital, and we get the tragic backstory of Mizuki, which again, I don't care. This 45-minute OVA has been one of the worst ones I've ever seen. From the awful character that is Mizuki, who has to be shoved into every conversation in every scene, and the amount of events that happen that are so forced and unnatural. The whole OVA from the start is awkward. Only good thing that it has are the two city pop songs.